Hello there, you're just right on time for KUTV Primetime News. Good evening and many thanks for joining us tonight. It's a day that we have seen a whole lot of series of activities, from demonstration all the way from Mombasa to Nairobi, from that is Eldoret to Nakuru and all the way to Nyeri. The message is just simple: reject and not amend. That is the clerical call that young people, we call them the Gen Z generation, are sending out clearly to the political spectrum across the divide. While that is happening, remember there is a latest happening that was happening in the parliament, and then the members of parliament, regardless of demonstrations, passed the bill the bill headed all the way to the third reading, and of course this will set the stage for some of the amendments, and should it see the light of the day, then the finance bill of 2024 eventually will become law. And that is the latest development in regard to various discontent voices among the young peoples, and that is the reality that is happening. Remember, it's a day that President William Ruto has urged Member of Parliament to pass the bill so that he can pave way and even give money to the school feeding program, and of course the GSS, that is the junior secondary intern teachers who are yet to be employed, and that particular bill will provide money to employ them on permanent and pensionable terms. That is the latest development that is happening across the country, and of course we'll be updating you on the latest happening across the country and beyond the borders in the world of politics, business, and of course sports, and bringing you an update on what is happening, plus our discussion here in the country regarding this finance bill of 2024. We'll be talking, or rather we'll be having a discussion with a group of young people, we call them the Gen Zs, just to give us some perspective into this. And I'll be asking a very critical question: what does the future hold? And we'll talk about the present, and of course the future, and even the past, even as we bring this whole perspective into light and chart the way forward. Well, so let's get into details of what we have in store for you tonight.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Right, Samuel Kelo is our sign language interpreter tonight. Remember, you can talk to us on all of our social media platforms. We are coming to you live on YouTube at KUTVNEWS. That is, you can tweet us on X at KUTV_Kenya, at Auma Evans. Remember to use the hashtag Primetime News. So tonight we begin Primetime News here in the nation's capital, where hundreds of Gen Zs gathered across the central business district to turn their anger to Parliament with one message: reject the finance bill of 2024. Our political reporter Edward Nyamu was in the central business district and filed the following report.
Hundreds, if not thousands, of Generation Z turned up in the central business district to reject the finance bill. Tear gas canisters could not stop the rioters who pleaded to fight for their rights through thick and thin.
Take on the finance bill 2020. Do you want it?
My name is Kasmal Makoure. I am a youth Gen Z leader, and I do not want anything to do with this finance bill.
Yes.
What the youth are saying is not amend. Yes. We are saying reject. Yes. Reject. Reject. Down with the finance bill, down. Down with corruption, down. Down with unnecessary expenditure, down. Vijana tusilale.
Business was not as usual in the central business district as hundreds of Gen Zs turned up to reject the finance bill.
He
finance bill hakuna discussion tunataka hata moja. Ni yote itupiliwe mbali kwa sababu hata last year tulikuwa na another financial bill na hatukuweza kuraise funds ambazo zilikuwa zimekusudiwa.
Biashara bwana, kila kitu imepanda, nataka aje. Tumechoka, lazima huyu mzee aende, sasa tutanyasha. Baada amechukua, ametax, tutafanya nini? Aende.
Ruto aende. Reject finance.
At around 2 p.m., hundreds were already gathered, and unlike the usual protest, these protests were revolutionary with no presence of political figure who usually lead these protests.
As the youths, as the Generation Z, we do reject that finance bill. First of all, it is punitive, it is derogatory to us and also to each and every single person in this country.
Finance bill hatutaki ikuwe hapo. Kitu tunataka Ruto afanye ni moja. Achukue hiyo pesa yenye anatumia kufinance manyumba, ajenge mapolisi nyumba, wache kuishi kwa nyumba za mabati hii town bwana.
The reason why I'm here today is to be able to lend my voice on behalf of other young people in ensuring that our collective voice contributes to a finance bill that is not oppressive or retrogressive to the Kenyan citizen. And our call to action today is that the legislators must not pass this bill.
Vandalism was not reported in any place, with those trying to do so having a hard time for protesters were against it.
These people want to tax pads, sanitary towels, and they claim to encourage the use of low quality sanitary towels. There's a reason why we go ahead and use imported sanitary towels.
So we are here to advocate for the rights of women, the girls. This is a generation that is going to fight tooth and nail until we get justice.
Generation Z revolution is out in the streets calling on legislators in parliament to reject the finance bill, saying they do not want any amendments in the bill. Edward Nyamo, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now, still on finance bill, a tyranny of numbers played out in Parliament today as the finance bill of 2024 was subjected to vote in its second reading. The current political temperatures and public pressure notwithstanding, a resounding 204 members of Parliament voted in support of the bill, with only 115 rejecting the bill. And as KUTV's Munene Weru reports, today's display of tyranny seems to have sealed the fate of the Finance Bill 2024, even as contentious bill awaits its third and final reading next week.
Despite the public pressure mounted on members of parliament by Grantling Kenyans in the ongoing countrywide protests against the installation of Finance Bill 2024, MPs are on their way to hand the bill a resounding success if today's voting pattern is anything to go by. After 2 days of heated debate on contentious clauses of the Bill number 30 of the National Assembly, otherwise known as the Finance Bill of 2024, the goose finally came to roost and the bill was subjected to a voting round at the end of its second reading.
As members of that opinion say aye. As members of the contrary opinion say nay.
The House settled on a roll call voting system where each MP would respond with either a yes, no, or abstinence, no in between.
Kiharu Ndindi Nyoro, Kikuyu Anthony Kimani Ichung'wa.
The voting system publicly exposed those who supported the bill, setting them up for public scrutiny. And even as political coalitions had whipped up their MPs prior to the voting, there are those who absconded and gave the coalition directive a wide berth. Such include Gathoni wa Mushomba, who despite nabbing the Githunguri seat on a UDA ticket, voted no to the bill.
Wa Mushomba Gathoni.
And when the results came in, the bill was supported by a resounding 204 members of parliament, with only 115 rejecting it. There were no abstainers.
The results of the division on second reading of the Finance Bill 2024 is as follows. Ayes 204, nays 115, abstentions nil, So the ayes have it.
The members, however, have a chance to lodge amendments which will be deliberated upon next week when the bill will enter the third reading, after which the bill will be subjected to a final vote.
The matter of the finance bill is now over. You wait for the committee of the whole. Those who have amendments to file, you know the deadline was 1 o'clock. The clerk and his team will process those amendments, and as you are told, the House will sit on Tuesday morning.
Even as Finance Bill 2024 gets a lifeline in next week's third reading, the bill seems to have its fate sealed, and the only thing between the bill and its success to become law is just but time.
Order, members.
Munene Weru, KUTV.
All right, thank you, Munene Weru, for that. Now, youths across the country took it to the streets in total rejection of the Finance Bill 2024 with a clear message: reject and not amend. As Emma Mwangi explains in the following report, the Gen Z insist that they are out to hold peaceful demonstrations without the backing of any politician.
Today, the threats of other counties joining in the demonstrations against the finance bill came true, with youths across the country in various counties showing up to air their opposition and dissatisfaction with the proposals contained in the bill. In Kirinyaga County, the youth denounced claims of being funded by politicians, stating it's their agitation with the high taxes that took them to the streets.
Tax on things as essential as sanitary towels or Pampers. It's crazy to think about.
In Embu County, protesters spotted carrying vuvuzelas, mobile phones and placards lamented of the hashtags provisions on items such as sanitary towels and diapers.
Nikaenda kwa bodaboda, wamefanya hivyo vyote wanafanya. Sasa wameninyima kazi, wamekuja kwa bodaboda, wanataka tuende wapi? Swali ni je, nataka tusome aje? Amtatupatia help, amtatupatia capitation, school fees tunangoja kulipa. Wanafunzi tutasoma aje?
Young protesters, including university students in Taita Taveta, have called out the government, threatening to remove the Kenya Kwanza government from authority.
Na tunawaambia hao wabunge wako pale bungeni, mtu anafika pale anaanza kuwasilisha mambo yake ya mdomo, mambo yake ya tumbo, anasahau kuna wananchi nyuma yake. Saa hizi generation Z, Gen Z tumeamka.
In Nyeri County, the protests were led by their governor Mutahi Kahiga, who stated that he supports them and will represent them in courts. Many shops remained closed as protesting youth took over the streets in the coastal region of Kilifi County, chanting that the entire bill should be shut down by the members of parliament. Similar demonstrations were seen in Rift Valley region, including Eldoret and Nakuru, western regions having Kakamega and Kisumu, Nyeri and Nanyuki representing the central region, while Isiolo and Garissa represented the northeastern region. Emma Mwangi, KUTV.
Right, now let's stay on matters finance bill for a bit. The National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, has written to the National Assembly indicating clearly that the proposed amendments to the finance bill will lead to a looming shortfall of 2 billion shillings. This announcement comes as the National Assembly discusses the fate of the unpopular bill. Cynthia explains how the dropped proposals will impact various state departments should the bill see the light of the day.
Hazina Kuu kupitia barua ile
All right, we do apologize for that mixed up. Now let's switch gears. The Kenya Model United Nations, in conjunction with the Refugee Consortium of Kenya, AIRA Academy, and HEARS, have issued a clerical call to stakeholders to create opportunities and a conducive environment for refugees in Kenya. The call was issued during a World Refugee Day at the Kenyatta University Parklands campus in an event that was graced by Israeli Ambassador to Kenya, Michael Lotam. Kutv Hilda reports from Parklands campus.
This being the 24th session of the Kenya Model United Nations meeting, women and children have been pointed out as a group that forms a great number of refugees among the 700,000 in Kenya. However, the cause of fleeing of the refugees was stated to be led by the civil war and climate change in their mother country.
Our durable solutions, or the durable solutions available to refugees, are three, which is voluntary repatriation, and that is on assumption that the conditions in the home country change and you're able to go back home, you're not anymore fearing persecution.
However, the government, through the socio-economic policy and framework, has stated that the refugees should be given opportunities and licenses to go about with their businesses. The legal framework has also offered protection to the refugees as drawn from the 1951 Convention from the Universal Declaration.
Would all be refugees in a different country? Would we consider ourselves a burden to that country? Or would we go there with our skills, our potential, our youthfulness? So it's the way of management. So some of the barriers to socioeconomic inclusion, despite legal provision, we have a Refugees Act recently amended in 2021. And I think in Section 28, it provides for the refugees' right to socioeconomic activity.
Integration of this group has further been initiated in Kakuma, Turkana County, Dadaab, Garissa County, and Nairobi County, where licenses have been issued to them and thus paving way for their stability.
But having come to this event, I feel like I want to become a more active member because these events are fun.
Basically, we have two things that are going to happen to ensure the realization of the same. We're going to have a public speaking competition and we're going to have a moot court competition. The public speaking competition is drawn from various critical or core areas about refugees, on the types of refugees and the challenges that the refugees face in Kenya and across Africa and the continent.
The 24th session of the Kenya Model United Nations will continue till the 21st at the Mount Kenya University Parklands, and other sessions planned in March 2025. The government of Kenya has now been urged to embrace Pan-Africanism and borderless Africa to ensure that all the refugees in Kenya have a chance to access public amenities. Kutv Hilda, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now let's switch gears to matters health. The Kilifi County government has initiated a robust primary health outreach initiative designed to bring medical services direct to rural communities. A specialist in diverse medical and dental field from several hospitals in Kilifi County will conduct monthly visit to rural health centers to provide free medical services. Joelina Kwara with the details.
An intensive primary health outreach campaign named Afya Mashinani has been launched by the county government of Kilifi with an aim of bringing medical services directly to grassroots communities. Specialists from Kilifi County Referral Hospital, Malindi Sub-County Hospital and Mariakani Sub-County Hospital will visit rural health centers monthly to offer free medical services.
Healthcare network ya Malindi leo imeleta huduma za afya hapa Baolala, ambao tunalenga wagonjwa ambao wako na magonjwa mbalimbali, magonjwa sugu ambao awali walikuwa wakipata huduma zao kule hospitali ya rufaa ya Malindi.
The Afya Mashinani campaign aims to reduce the financial burden of medical care for the residents of remote areas in the county who previously had to travel long distances to access specialized services at level 4 facilities.
Wagonjwa wanapata gharama za juu sana wakitembea sehemu nyingi na sehemu mbali kwa gharama ya juu kutafuta matibabu.
According to Dr. Edward Mumbo, the campaign aims at reaching patients with chronic diseases such as diabetes and high blood pressure, among others, who have been receiving treatment at the hospitals.
Iwapo tutaendelea na huduma hii na ufuatilizi huu, basi tutakuwa tumesaidia kwa jamii ya Kilifi yote kwa pamoja.
The program has given consultants an opportunity to see their patients who might have failed to return for follow-ups, as well as people who have stayed with chronic conditions for long due to the cost of traveling to the hospital.
Kuna wenye tumeona ambao pengine ulimfanyia upasuaji hakuweza kurudi, at least leo tumepata kuwaona.
Kwa hivyo nashukuru sana gavana, nashukuru sana pia gatuzi letu la kaunti, uongozi mzima kwa kutunukia nafasi hii Malindi sub-county. Asanteni.
Patients lauded the move and called on the authorities to increase the frequency of such visits. Joylene Akware, KUTV.
Right, it is 23 minutes past the time to take a very short break here on KUTV Primetime News. Remember, we have plenty in store for you, including our conversation, or rather the discussion of the day. We'll be taking a look at matters finance bill and the rise of Gen Z, and that is the discussion that will be coming to you in just a moment. But remember, you can keep talking to us on all of our social media platforms. We are coming to you live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya. You can tweet us on X at Auma Events at KUTV_, and we'll be sure to sample all of your feedback at the tail end of our bulletin tonight. See you in a bit.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
The folks are going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi vuguvugu. Pepo pa ni idea.
Tazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights.
possessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Kaunti maarufu kwa kuzalisha maziwa na ukuzaji wa majani chai. Pia, serikali ya kaunti inawahimiza wakulima kukumbatia mitindo mingine ya kilimo kuzidisha mapato.
Kama kuna kikundi moja inafanya biashara ya kuuza kuku, hao pia tumewafadhili kuwafunza jinsi ya kuhandle zile kuku kwa sababu wanaleta kwa wingi.
Haya yote tunakuletea katika Boresha Kilimo, toleo la kaunti ya Bomet.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Alright, welcome back, and now the discussions begins right now, and we invite you to be part of this discussion, the young people. This is a discussion that is so close and dear to the heart of many young people across the country. And of course, we want to talk about matters finance bill and what it's actually, taking into through. Remember, the uprising of the young people, commonly known as us, the Gen Z, is gaining momentum in the country. And of course, this is an issue that has been, rocking different parts of the country, from demonstration all the way from Mombasa to Nairobi, all the way to Nakuru and Eldoret to Nyeri. The message is just clear, sending a very straight signal to, the political spectrum in the country. This time round, they just one thing: this finance bill to be rejected in totality, not even to amend it or even anything to do with the finance bill of 2024 is the enemy of this Gen Z. And I'm glad to be joined by a group of young people, gentlemen, and of course, just to help us give insight to this particular discussion. Eston Maina, asante sana for making time. Same case with Aluch. Asante sana for making time. Well, the latest happenings across the country, because now this is something that is happening across the country. We have seen demonstrations in Nyeri, we have seen demonstrations in Meru, we have seen it here in the nation's capital, we have seen it in Mombasa, Kilifi, Eldoret, Nakuru, and of course youths are turning in large numbers. And of course, I just want to begin with you, Eston. What kind of message does it send, of course, to the political spectrum? Now that we are having a very hot discussion about the finance bill, what is the message that the young people are sending out there to the political class?
Yeah, and the message is very simple. They have said that we will not be annexed in our own country anymore. We have been treated like squatters for the longest time. And now they want to take up the leadership. I want to remind this country that young people or youths make up about 75% of the population. And why they don't translate this number into votes is because when now you look at the voters register, we have about 22 million registered voters.
All right.
And out of these 22 million registered voters, only 39% are this the very same youths. So if these people now decide to take their power back, they will determine the present and the future of the politics of this country. And we as the youth say the future is youthful.
All right, talking about the future being the youthful, now let's talk about the bone of contention here. Is the finance bill of 2024. They call it very punitive, and of course they don't want even the bill to be amended. They want it to be rejected. And of course, Aluoch, when I come to you, when you look at the complaint and of course the demands from the young people, given the fact that it's just a week that we have gone through budget reading process, and finance bill is a framework that laid down the procedure in which the government will fundraise this particular money to fund the budget. With it, so many sectors that have been allocated different allocations in regard to the budget of 2024-2025. Well, fair enough, let's say their demands have been hit too. So where does it leave the nation, even as we take a look at this, the rise of Gen Zs in this particular discussion?
Actually, the budget is illegal. We call it punitive, not because we like using the word punitive.
All right.
The budget is illegal, and it is not considering or aligning to the needs of the local wananchi. And that's what Gen Z have seen. They're like, you guys, you have been using us for a long time. Enough is enough. You guys have come into a greater extent. And by the way, if you check at the budget, the areas that these people are considering much, where they want to allocate much funds, are not areas that are linked with the local wananchi. The government of the day, the government should be the servants. They serve the people. They deliver for the people. And they have refused to deliver for the people. And that's why we have rose up as Generation Z. We are like, we are not going to wait up to 2027. We are going to not to persevere. We have persevered much, and the truth is, we want the bill to be get rid of, so that a new bill can be reintroduced. We won't allow the bill, to direct us into a budget that is illegal. We are a nation, we are a statement, we love our country, we have a constitution, and we know very well that even the process of budget allocation, it is clearly stated. Article 220 of the Constitution talks about the fund allocation. There are criteria, even the tax imposition. There are criteria in which the tax should be collected within the country. And if you check at all the criteria in the Constitution and the process that these people are following, they are contradicting. They are inversely directive. They are not linking by any way, meaning these people are grand measures of impunities. They are abusing our constitution, and we are not going to allow. We are going to save our country for our generation to come, and it is not yet. We will rise, we will fight, we will do everything possible within our power to make sure that our country become a safer place for us.
Viva. Okay, now that we are talking about the budget, remember? Yes. And when you look at the key proposals, like let's say the 16% VAT on bread, we have 2.5% on motor vehicle, we have 25% on edible oil, just to mention a few of areas that really touch the heart and soul of common man. And of course, the government has said that they are willing to drop all this so that they can focus on now the other areas that remaining. Well, I want to ask you, when you look at this proposal, yes, the finance bill 2024, what is it about this bill that agitates you, the young people? For example, let's take close by close, the 16% on bread, it has been dropped, rather, because this is one of the proposals that the government has agreed to drop it. We have another very contentious one, the 2.5 on motor vehicle. We have 25% on edible oil. The eco levy has been dropped. So what more does the young people want?
First of all, it is not in our place to commend the government for rectifying its mistakes. from the very beginning, they came up with this mess. So we cannot thank the government for cleaning up their mess. It is the mess they made. It's in their place to clean up. On the issue of VAT on bread, the government came in very shallow. They said that they introduced a VAT, a 16% VAT on bread to curb diabetes. That is utter nonsense. And when you have a government that has lawmakers that cannot even defend the position of government, it begs the question: who did we even elect in these positions of power? Because Thomas Jefferson said, for a nation to expect to be free, ignorant, and in a state of civilization, it is to expect that which never was and never will be. And for us to be able to govern this country accordingly, we need to educate ourselves. We need to inform ourselves. And we have member of parliaments who are passing. You remember the last time we held these members of parliament accountable for passing the finance bill of 2023. They said that they had not read it. They just passed it. So how do we trust them? How do we trust that they have read the 2024 finance bill if they did not read the 2023 finance bill and they went ahead to implement it into becoming an act? How do we trust such leaders? And that is why you see the Gen Zs coming in, because we entrusted you with power to represent us, to oversee, to legislate on our behalf. But instead of doing what we sent you to do in parliament, you went there to serve your master, a master that did not vote for you. We are the ones who put them in power. And it begs the question, when the government says that young people need to listen to the government, is it we who should listen to the government, or is it the government who should listen to the young people?
Okay.
We don't serve the government, they serve us.
Okay.
They are our employees.
Okay.
So our interests should come first.
All right. Talking about the interest and of course the government serving the people the way it should be, well, there is a logic and common reasoning. For example, let's say now the proposals, 18 of them, if they are all dropped, then the country is facing a crisis. That is according to message from Treasury CS, that is Professor Njuguna Ndungu, just giving some insight, and in a letter that he sent to Parliament. We have key sectors like, let's say, education. We have the fate of junior secondary school intern teachers, who the promise that they were given that maybe the 46,000 of them will be absorbed on permanent and pensionable term. Now that promise could hang somewhere in the balance, and their fate not known. Not to talk less of school feeding program. Remember, their budget has been slashed. Should this bill see the light of the day, then we have some additional 1.8 billion that will be slashed from the initial allocated budget. Same case goes to very key departments like the medical intern. They'll be slashed 3.7 billion. You have cash transfer that goes to the elderly and very vulnerable people in the society, 5.5 billion. And national government development constituency fund, that is NGCDF, 15 billion will be slashed from that. And you know the discussion about matters to do with the CDF. We have help for the comrades, 3.2 billion to be slashed. And we have the last mile connectivity, a whooping 19 billion. And that is the biggest casualties of this, the proposed dropped taxes and levies in this finance bill of 2024. We have issues to do with waterworks development. We have 11.6 billion that will be slashed. Equitable shareable revenue of 5 billion will be slashed from that. We have school feeding program. I said 1.8 billion. We have now the cash transfer of which that. So this proposal, when you look at the key sectors like Ministry of Education, Health and Energy, if this bill sees the light of the day, then that means there will be a reduction in budget and allocation. And this could be a crisis for many sectors. I'm talking about the school feeding program. We have the help, and you remember the last allocation we are given 628 billion, and it was still not enough. So in as much as we try to take, it's a give and take, but where does it leave us as a nation? Aloch, that's for you.
I think the government should not Article 1 of the Constitution clearly state that the sovereignty, the relationship between the sovereignty and the state, the sovereignty and the state should work hand in hand. If it reaches a point where the state want to threat the sovereignty through, coming out their rights, then we won't go that way, and we want to tell the grand measures of impunities that we gave the privilege to represent us, not to oppress us. And you guys have economically depressed us. You have even mentally oppressed us. You have even environmentally exhaustion us, and it is just enough. And that's why, as the General Z leader, I want to urge my fellow Kenyans that threats what were good with us. It will not. Because indeed, even if you check those articles that were removed, were they constitutional? In the any process of a bill being amended, at any given point when a clause is being reintroduced in a bill or being deleted in a bill, then the bill should be dropped, and a new bill should be introduced. That is what is in the Constitution, But these people that are just waking up and we are like, "Walai, we are going to make 16." Was that 16% of VAT in bread? Was it there before? The motor vehicle tax 2.5. Was it there? And the Constitution even clearly states, Article 216, it states that no one shall be exempted from paying of the tax. In that motor vehicle thing that they dropped, it was clear that there are some nature of jobs and some offices that were exempted. So there's no way you can eliminate the important things for the local mwananchi and reintroduce things that are not benefiting us. So it will not work best on us. And I want to tell my people that we are taking notes. We are wise people. We are learning. General said we even learn from West Africa because things have been happening in Africa even, and changes have been there. So let them just threat us as hard as they can, but trust me, in solidarity and unity of the people of Kenya, whether General Z or the other generation, we will come together to save our nation.
All right.
So that is what is there.
All right. Eston. Well, numbers don't lie. And we have a crisis. I can say that. It is a tough act of balance between funding, and that is the dilemma between the government and, of course, to incorporate the needs of the young generation. We're talking about the Gen Z. And when you look at what you are facing right now, do you project or do you foresee a looming crisis that, if not averted at this particular stage, then as a country, we might head to, a sinking road?
Evans, what we have is what we call a man-made crisis. And I have always been of the opinion that we do not have a resource problem in Kenya. I always say this. We have a management problem.
All right.
That is the problem we have. And this actually should go as a message to the government. If the government is trying to go the route of blackmail, because that is what they're trying to do, they're trying to hoodwink Kenyans into accepting this punitive bill. We are telling them, if you blackmail us into passing a bill that will hurt Kenyans, come 2027, we will mail you back to your constituencies, to your grassroots.
All right.
So this is to Ruto. If he blackmails us, we will mail him P.O. Box Sugoi. Why am I saying this? It is a matter of priorities, okay? We cannot cut down the basic needs of our people and maybe forego things like why does the president need renovations? I want to give a slight a slight example. The State House surpassed its approved budget ceiling by 262 million. Yet we do not have enough money to fund the budget. They requested for a refurbishment of state houses and lodges. The Nairobi State House requested for 1.7 billion shillings for renovation. The one in Eldoret requires 926 million for refurbishment. Okay. The one in Sagana requires 388 million for refurbishment. We are not rebuilding. We are not building new structures. We are refurbishing. And when you have a scenario where you used around 400 million to build a state laws, and you're using around 600 million to refurbish it, it begs the question, why should the refurbishment be more expensive than the structure?
Okay.
Should you not just do away with it?
What's your source?
The source of the data. I got it from, should I mention the
just for accountability purposes, because
for accountability purposes. I got this from Nation Digital.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So. Okay. Now proceed.
Okay. When we have Mombasa, the state lodge in Mombasa requiring 1.3 billion for refurbishment, Nakuru 1.1 billion, Kisumu 245 million. We have Kakamega 265 million, Kisii 795 million, and then Mtito Andei requires 45 million.
Okay.
And then the same state house requires a mechanical garage of 428 million and machine and equipment worth 433 million.
Right.
How then do you go back to the people and tell them, we're not going to fund your school fees anymore, we do not have enough money. We're not going to pay JSS teachers anymore because you did not pass the punitive bill. We have no money. We're not going to pay, to turn the doctors from contractual employment to permanent and pensionable because we do not have enough resources. Why is it that every time the president needs to use a private jet, we have resources, but when we need to pay our doctors, we have to sit down and negotiate? That kind of nonsense is what the Gen Zs are saying. We have to put an end to this.
Okay. Now let's come now to the discussion about the Gen Zs. Of course, they're turning out in large numbers, sending clear messages, and this begs the question: just how far are they willing to go?
So, in fact, Gen Z, we are not against government. We are not against anyone holding an office. We are against the grand measures of impunities that they are bringing to our nation. Karl Marx says that if you want to know an enemy, introduce the common principle. And the new principle that have been introduced, this paper are trying to introduce to us is poverty. We are against poverty because we are languishing in poverty based on the decision that the previous government made and our parents could talk on their behalf, We are afraid of poverty. We want a nation that can grow because indeed, why should we brag that our GDP is high? Why should we go outside and say that Kenya is one country that has one of the highest GDP even in Africa, yet not per capita, We have the resources, we know. This is not the first bill that is going to be passed. This is not even the first government that is established. Governments have been there before, And we know that Kenya, we have the capability to grow. We know. And we also know that constitutionally, we have the power to do our own oversight. Article 1, Clause 2. It says that the power belongs to the people, and they have the right to exercise it through their democratically elected leaders or by themselves. So we know that we also have a voice to tell our leaders that this is what we want and this is what we don't want. But these people, they don't want to listen to us. Because even for a bill to come into pass, the public participation, public opinion must be collected from the people. And indeed, Kenyans have all rose from all corners and they have said we are against this bill. They have not heard us. What does that mean? What example are they setting for the incoming leaders like us? Are they telling us that constitution is just a piece of document that should be there, that we should only follow it for in our own benefit when we are, but when it comes to matter delivery and to serve the people, we should do it in our own way? Because trust me, even among the things, me personally, as among the leaders escalating this thing, I'm a student, and I know that NGCDF funds and help are money that are being released in support of the destitute and economically vulnerable students. I know very well that 58 billion was allocated last year in 2023-2024, financial year. And I know very well that the money, these people, the money was allocated, the money was there, but they never even wanted to release the money for us.
How do you know that?
It is there. This is a public
thing.
Do
you know? How can you prove it was there?
58 billion, you can check anywhere. 58 billion was allocated NGCDF funds. But our MPs, including my area MP, Tienda Molo, he was even if he couldn't come in our constituency, because the people were waiting for the funds. The money was there, but these people were refusing to. So all these dramas are the things that are uniting calling us Gen Zs. We are coming together and says that, if you guys feel that you are old enough and you can deliver for us, then we will rise and deliver for ourselves.
You have really mentioned about a very important point, uniting the Gen Zs, the young people. Well, you will agree with me that the young people are the majority in this particular country. But every electioneering period, we have a cycle. Despite the fact that you have the largest number, you can actually rally behind one of your own and, push for your agenda. But it seems to be like, you hold the bullet, but it's someone else who is shooting. So it's like, in real sense, you're the custodian, but really you are the security man. So how does it happen? And even as we talk about this uprising of the young people, so how do you balance this delicate equation of young people being the majority, but at the same time they can't even rally behind one of their own and form that a unity pact and push for the agenda as young people?
I think what lacked is the unity of purpose. Now they have found their purpose. And now moving forward, they will be a force to reckon with. And it is a force that neither you or I expected. It came as a surprise. And I know even the political elites, this was not something we could have predicted. And why this is important is because I like a point that George Kaluma, I don't know if he's a member of, is he from Auma Bay Township, right? He said that there should be no taxation without representation. What do we mean by this? If you don't give us the proper representation in parliament, why should you tax us? Because you want to tax us, but you don't want to be held accountable. You don't want to be transparent. So why should we keep on being taxed? And when we ask for accountability from the side of the government, it is optional. It cannot be, because paying taxes to a corrupt regime is tantamount to facilitating corruption, because you are funding the corruption knowingly. You know it exists and you keep on funding it. It is upon us as the young people of the Republic of Kenya to put a complete overhaul of this particular system. We can do away with this government and come up with another one. Power belongs to the people. We can decide to exercise it directly or indirectly. We can take back our power.
We will take it.
All right. This will serve as your closing remark. Pretty quick, 1 minute each. Let's talk about now the tool and the means that has actually, made this particular uprising possible. I'm talking about the influence of social media and just how critical it is for this, revolution that we are seeing right now. So talk to me about that even as we wind up this particular conversation.
It's through the unity of the people, the unity of Gen Zs via the social media that made us to come up with this critical decision, because we believe that power resides where men believe it is. Constitutionally, it's there that we are the sovereign. Power belongs to the sovereignty, and they have the right to participate directly or through their democratically elected leaders. They have failed us, and now we have decided. And this thing is not going to end tomorrow. We will fight till we get what we deserve. If they won't give us what we deserve, we'll kick them out. Remember, with the majority, we are not begging for privilege. We don't want any privilege. We want each and every person to play their role, and they will play their role. And I want to tell those grand mentors of impunities who are, because of their stomach's sake, they want to pass this punitive piece of the, we will meet and we will try, we will restrain ourselves. We will try to persevere till 2027, right. But we will see. So, power is on our hand, and we are going to make sure that we come to handle deliberation.
All right, so let's donate that 30 seconds to you for your closing remark in regard to this, the power of social media. Pretty quick.
What we are seeing now is the evolution from what we used to call the Stone Age, where we used to pick it with stones, and now we are transitioning to what they are calling the phone age, and now we are going live. And the beauty of this is that with mainstream media you can restrict. But now when it is organic, it is coming from the people, you cannot restrict that. And that is why it is very hard for the government to even control the Gen Zs. Why? Because they're used to, picketing that has a leader, that is organized by a particular leader. And if you want to put an end to that, what do you need to do? If it's organized by Evans, call Evans, negotiate, give Evans what he wants, then he can do away with the with the picketing. But now we have a situation where it's coming from the people, and no one in particular is leading them. So the only way that these people can come out of these streets and go back to their homes is if you achieve, or if you give them what they want. Right. If that is not if it's not attained, then there is no way the Maandamano is going to end. So there is no way that the government is going to call someone behind closed doors and maybe negotiate and do maybe what we call a handshake. There will be no handshake with the Gen Zs. Can you shake the hands of 22 million youths? No. You cannot.
All right. Well, we have to leave it at that, this particular point. Thank you so much, Eston Maina, political scientist. Then we have Dixon Alwuch, Occupy Parliament, and of course, youth leader, that is Safina Party. Yeah. Asante sana for making time and for shedding light and giving us an insight on this particular discussion. It's something that will be keen and eager to see how the event will unfold. Well, now it's time to take, or rather talk matter sports. All right, now Gabriel Magu will headline Team Kenya at the Para Powerlifting World Cup Championship in Tbilisi, Georgia. The World Cup is the last qualifying round for para powerlifters for the 2024 Paris Paralympic, scheduled from August 28th to September 8th in the French capital. The 37-year-old will lead a team of 4 powerlifters, including a week-long event in Georgia. The team includes Helen Wawira, Jeremiah Ngugi, and Joyce Njuguna. The Kenya National Paralympic Committee Chair Stanley Murimi disclosed that those winning medals at the Tbilisi Championship will get a direct ticket to the Paris Summer Games. Now, switching gears to matters football, Serbia and Slovenia shared a spoil in their second Group C match of Euro 2024 at Allianz Arena. At the same time, Scotland played to a 1-1 draw against Switzerland in their second match of Euros in Group A. Manchester United midfielder Scott McTominay powered Scotland ahead just after 13 minutes of playing time before Xherdan Shaqiri equalized for Switzerland 13 minutes later. Italy will take on Spain in their Group A as both teams seek to book their ticket in the round of 16 tonight. Alright, so that's a night, and many thanks for the men and women behind the scene, and of course for you, our esteemed viewers, for always keeping us a company in the last 60 minutes or so. My good name is Auma. Samuel Kelo has been a sign language interpreter tonight. Until next time, do have a lovely night. Let's meet next time, same place, by the grace of God. Good night, all.